And live. What's up, everyone? What's going on? I'm back after a little bit of after a week off. I don't know. I don't feel like I had much to talk about last week, to be honest. And I got here to my place on Monday night, and time just kind of got away from me, and before I knew it, it was like 8:30, and Rose on her way over. So I said, fuck it, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow night, and then tomorrow night didn't happen, and then I thought, I'll do it a different night, and that shit just never happened. I just never got around to it, even though I had plenty of time going on beyond Monday night. I had Tuesday night here, virtually by myself. Ro didn't show up until late, and Wednesday night didn't get here till late. So, and then I was here yesterday for most of the day, and I just felt like there was other things that I wanted to do. I got a ton of fucking studying going on for all this flying stuff. There's so many fucking things to find and learn, and I got papers all over the place, and it feels like every time I have a free 20 minutes, I'm looking in this Federal Aviation Rules book, trying to find answers to questions, and then I have a separate test that doesn't have a book to go with it. I can only go off of the website, and but I'm excited about that stuff. I don't know. I love that stuff. I'm studying harder now for these tests. In the last 6 weeks, I'm reading these books and reading these PDF documents online more than I studied anything in high school ever. Probably more than I studied anything in the police academy. Probably more than I studied anything in the military. These are the most important tests I'm ever going to take. I have more drive to pass these tests, and it's crazy because firstly, when I went to the police academy, there was tests every week, basically just a test for what we learned that week. There was a test every week, and sometimes there were tests middle of the week or whatever, and then of course there's a big final test at the end of the police academy. So there's all of these tests, but with all of them, I was like, I don't know. I just had this feeling of whatever, if I fail it, I fail it. I need 70 to pass. Big deal. I can get a 75. I was just super lazy, and I mean that's been my MO throughout my entire life with tests. I fucking hate taking tests. I'm just knocking my fucking microphone all over the place. I hate taking tests. I don't like it at all. And it has nothing to do with anxiety about tests. That's not the case at all. I just don't like them. I think they're stupid. I would rather be tested in the field, so to speak. But with this, I am so driven to get a passing on my first go. I want to get a first time go pass on all this. And I mean, I guess the only other time that I've ever felt this much pressure to get everything right in one shot was in the military. To get through basic training, you had to go through certain stages. Every 3 or 4 weeks there were these tests, but they were field tests. Getting through the first 3 weeks was the final test was applying medical shit, or what's a challenge and password, and all that type of shit. But for this, there's this giant ass book that has 1,100 pages to it. And granted, I don't need to know everything in it yet. I don't need to know everything in it right now. And honestly, I'll probably never need to know everything in it. Right now, I have to take a test. So when this is all over, in about 6 weeks, when I can fly by myself, I can fly a specific plane by myself. It's a Vans RV-12. You can look it up. It's called a Vans RV-12, and that is the specific plane that I can fly all I want to. But to get to fly another plane, to fly a Cessna 172, which is another plane that the school that I go to, they have a Cessna 172 Skyhawk. and that's a plane that I'm going to want to fly because that's a 4-passenger plane. Whereas the Vans RV-12 is just a 2-passenger. It's a tiny little plane. I mean, it's small. You can't put like luggage in it or anything. So like if I want to fly from here to Rangeley or from Portsmouth to Rangeley, like even if it's just me and Rochelle, it's like, okay, do you have a backpack, like a small backpack? Because that's about what you can fit in the back of this thing. So I'm going to want to be able to fly the Cessna Skyhawk, but to fly that, I'm going to have to do probably 4, 5, 6 hours of flying in that with an instructor who will teach me like how to land that plane. And then I'm going to have to take another written test on that particular plane so that I can fly that plane by myself. I don't have like a whole lot of ambition to fly more than that. Short of winning Powerball. Like I would love to, like, I don't know. Sometimes I think like, what am I doing all this for? I do love it. I love getting in an airplane and going flying. I've got 15 hours or so under me right now. And I love it. Every time that I go flying, I cannot wait for the next time. And I'm working, I'm trying to squeeze in as much overtime as I can and save money anywhere that I can so that I can fly more, so that I can fly more often. But I do sometimes wonder, like, what am I going to do with this? Like, when it's all said and done, when I get my license, let's say, probably I'm hoping that maybe this time next year I'll have my license. That's what I'm hoping. I figure if I can get my license in 50 hours, I should have, and I've got 15 right now, 6 months into this little journey, then that makes sense to me that in about a year I might have about 50 hours, give or take. If I stay flying as often as I do right now, I should be able to get my license. But then what? I don't know. I don't know what comes after that. I can fly, once I have my license, I can fly single-engine planes under 12,500 pounds, which is a very wide array of different types of planes that I can fly. There's a ton of different planes that I can fly at that point. And I don't know what I'll do. I have no idea. I know that I'm going to want, I mentioned it plenty of times that I cannot wait for the first time I get to take Ro up with me, just the two of us. Even if it's just flying around the seacoast of our New England area that we live in, even if it's just that, would be awesome to me to share that with her. But beyond that, I don't know. Flying to Rangeley once in a while would be cool. I don't know if I could ever buy. I think that I could probably mortgage the Rangeley house in order to buy my own plane. But there's so much shit that comes with that. Firstly, you're mortgaging a fucking airplane. You're taking out probably a 30-year loan on a $100,000 item. So the payment might not be that bad. It might not be crazy. I'm not sure what the math would work out on that. Probably a little under $1,000 a month, but still, that's a huge payment to be making. But then you got to think about where are you going to park it? I can't, even with the acreage that we have in Fremont, New Hampshire, that there's no place to even contemplate building a runway. And even if there was, like, what do you mean you're going to build a runway in the backyard? Like, do you have any idea how much fucking effort would go into that? There's bulldozers and excavators and all this other shit that would go into having to make about 2,000 feet of straight and level land. So that's not really an option. Keeping it at a hangar is really, the best option, but, then there's a cost there because it's like renting a storage unit, a very, very, very expensive storage unit. I can't fly, I can't fly for hire. I can't like take payment to fly someone to, Boston or whatever they want to do. So, yeah, I don't really know. For me, it's just fun. I think it's just for fun. I think that's all it ends up being, is just to say, I did it. I have the license. I can fly. I know how to fly an airplane, and then anytime that I want to fly somewhere, I can. I think it was my friend Scott who last summer one weekend flew him and his family down to the Cape for the day, down to Lake Cape Cod, Massachusetts, just for the day. Like they got in the airplane, they took the scenic route all along the seacoast, all the way down to the Cape Cod. It took them like an hour or less to get there, probably less to get there versus the 2.5 hour drive that it takes if you go by car. Sure, it costs quite a bit of money because it's $175 an hour to rent the plane, and you're talking about using it for probably 2.5, 3 hours by the time all's said and done. You're looking at 2.5, 3 hours. So, but I don't know. I just think that shit would be awesome to be able to do that. Now, Powerball money. If I had Powerball money, there are 2 planes. One, I'd be able to fly once I have my license, no problem. It's called an Extra LT 330, I think. Extra LT 330. Is that the plane? Yeah. No. That's a little remote control plane. Yeah, that's it. Extra it's an aerobatic plane. Yeah, Extra 330 LT. So not LT 330. 330 LT. This thing is badass. It's a tail dragger. It's what they call a tail dragger because it has it has the little wheel on the back and then 2 wheels in the front. And if Ro were here right now, she would be calling me a nerd. But this thing, I've flown it in my little simulator and it looks like so much fun. It's small and light. It's 2 passenger, but they sit one in front of the other instead of side by side. And this plane is made to like go upside down and climb really fast, and it's made for all of these crazy things. The problem is it's like brand new. It's like $330,000 or something like that, $350,000 maybe. And then the other the real fuck you money plane that I want is because I googled the other day civilian owned fighter jet, I think is what I googled, and I came across what's called a Folland Gnat, Folland Gnat, and this thing was made in 1966, and there's one for sale on the internets for $255,000, and this thing is so cool. I watched a video of it at like an air show. And it's a fighter jet. I mean, it's just like any fighter jet you've ever seen. It has the same look to it. It has a cruise speed of 695 miles an hour at 20,000 feet. The air show video that I found of it, the guy's doing fucking barrel rolls and steep climbs and all that shit. So this thing, yeah, if I were to win Powerball, you can bet I would be definitely buying myself a private fighter jet, 100%. I wouldn't even think it would probably be my first purchase. As soon as I left the city of Concord, New Hampshire, with my $400 million check, I would be online immediately trying to buy this thing and figuring out how to get it here, and then I'd have to figure out like, okay, who teaches me how to fly this thing, and who teaches me who signs off on how I can fly for this, because I don't think that CFI Jack would know how to fly a Folland Gnat. He might know how to fly it, but I don't think that he's certified to sign off on my flying. So yeah, but like I said, I think I only have a few more lessons before I can fly by myself, which I'm very excited about. I'm flying this coming Thursday, a couple days from now. I'm flying, and this could be one of the few times, one of the last times that I fly with Jack, if all goes right. I think it could be. The last few times that I've gone out with him, we've practiced landings and staying in and doing pattern work. And when we came out of the sky last time, I asked him, Like, after I can fly solo, what does that mean? Like, what can I do? And he showed me there's like 5 different training areas in the Portsmouth, New Hampshire area where you can go and fly, where student pilots like myself can go and fly. And basically all I do is just I go up and maybe I stay in the traffic pattern just doing touch and go landings, or I go up and I fly over to one of these training areas and I practice straight and level flight and turning, and when Jack signs off on it, I can do like stalls. I can practice stalls and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for to be progressing through this like I am. So I had a thought the other day. I'm sure everyone is as excited as I am to talk about more row stuff. But I don't care. It's my show, and I'll do what I want. We were talking the other day about how, like, it just never feels like we have enough time together. Like, it always feels like that both of us are so busy, and we're so flip-flop, too, because, like, last summer when we first got together, her work schedule was really, really light. She had a pretty fixed schedule of, punching at 8 a.m., out at 4 p.m. every day. There was no overtime. There was nothing crazy going on. Her work schedule, well, I mean, there was craziness going on in the world, if you remember last summer, but it wasn't like she was a massive part of that. Her job doesn't really, she's not on patrol. But her work schedule was pretty light, and she was able to, we were able to spend all this time together. But conversely, last summer, I was balls out. I was, even when I wasn't working, I was just so fucking, longtime listeners of the show remember last summer was a fucking stressed shit show for me. So let's see here. So I was working 10, 12-hour days, punching at 7:30 in the morning, not getting out until 6:30 at night. Even on nights when I got out, even if in the off chance where I got out at like 4:30 in the afternoon, I'm coming straight to my place to work on it, to put up sheetrock or build 2x4s and walls and all this other bullshit that I was doing, making just endless stops to Lowe's to buy more stuff. And and now here we are now, and my days have gotten pretty light because I switched positions in the post office. I have a really nice route now, and I'm off of the overtime list, so I'm only doing overtime on my own route when I want to. But she, on the other hand, because they fucking all her fucking coworkers have retired, like everyone's retiring at Portsmouth PD, and they have a union rule that to do special assignments, whether it be the SWAT team or school resource officer or detectives or fucking drug unit or whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever the special assignment is, you have to do patrol for 2 years. So you could have like a guy who's been doing, who went to Boston PD, gets hired to fucking plainclothes detectives immediately out of the academy, and has been working homicide and major crimes and robbery division for the last 15 years as a detective, and he decides he wants to leave Boston PD and come, work in a smaller PD in New Hampshire. If he wants to go to Portsmouth, he has to do patrol before he can go be a detective, which I think has its pluses and its minuses. I think that the positives on that are that it's fair for everyone. You want to do the fucking thing, you got to do patrol first. That's where you're going to start. We don't care. The drawback to that is that right now they're down to like fucking 3 detectives, and they just don't have enough people. And if no one that's currently on patrol or some other assignment wants to move into detectives, then it's not like they can hire someone and say, it's not like they can put out a job advertisement saying we're looking for a detective, because the union rule is that they have to, whoever wants to do detectives has to do patrol for 2 years. So I do think that I do think it's kind of cool to force people to do patrol for 2 years. I think there's so many fucking jobs on this universe or in this universe that that so many people should have to do for 2 years or for a period of time. Like my father and Ro have both worked in the jail, and my father always said that he thought that every police officer should have to work in the jail for at least, I don't know what his number is. It's at least a month. He might have said like 3 months, but either way, he's always said that he thought that every police officer should have to work in the jail for a period of time. I always thought that every police officer should have to work dispatch for a period of time. Dispatchers should probably go ride around with police officers for, at least a few shifts. My father did substitute teaching for a few years while I was in high school, which I can't even tell you how awesome that was. Which, if you can't pick up on my heavy sarcasm, I don't know what to tell you. It's not cool to have your parent, because both my father and my mother did it. It's not cool to have your parent as a substitute teacher. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, my sister did it too, actually. I'm almost positive my sister also did substitute teaching while I was in fucking high school. But no, thank you. But anyways, my father said that he thought that every parent should have to do substitute teaching for a little bit, so that they can see what's going on there. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where I was going with everything. But Ro and I were talking the other day about how we have it just feels like we don't have enough time together. We never have enough time together, which is fine. It really gives us a chance to miss each other, which is nice too. It feels like it makes the relationship really healthy to not be around each other 24/7. Certainly things never get boring when you're not next to each other at all times, because you could be, because if you could get burnt out if you're next to the same fucking person. I did date a girl once who told me that she was in an abusive relationship before, and not even like her boyfriend was abusive. She told me stories that were like, oh, you both were fucking toxic to each other. Like, she told me one time they got in a fight and he tried to call 911 and she unplugged the phone, which that's illegal. Can't do that, people. If someone's trying to call 911, you can't fucking rip the phone out of their hand. I think my mate is texting me. I gotta make sure that she's not saying, okay, good. I was chilling home. Okay, so it's just letting me know how softball went, which I'll get to talking about softball here soon. But yeah, anyways, this girl, she's telling me about this relationship, and then she tells me that they lived together. They also worked together at some warehouse that was like a 45-minute drive from home, and because they worked together, they figured it made the most sense to drive to work together. So they are with each other 24 hours a day. No, thank you. I told her as much. I was like, no fucking wonder it didn't work out with you two. 24 hours a day next to your partner. No, I love Ro, but I also love the space that we give each other. But anyways, I digress. Back to what I was saying, where we were saying we just don't have enough time. I was thinking to myself, like, if there was a planet, like if they fucking discovered a planet that was just like Earth, minus all the buildings and stuff, because they would have just discovered it. So it's got fucking vegetation and animals and all the things that we need to survive there, right? If they found this other planet, but the way that it, maybe its distance from the sun or whatever, maybe the size of I don't know how it works. I don't know the science on that. But whatever it is, say it's a 32-hour day instead of a 24-hour day. So you get an extra 8 hours a day. Like, blah, 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 blah. You get an extra 8 hours per day to your life. If that was a thing and they were like, hey, we are, we're sending people that want to go, sending volunteers or whatever, sending people that want to go there. The deal is that you're going to be there. You're going to be there forever. There's no coming back to Earth. You're going there and you're stuck there. It's kind of like Elon Musk's plan with Mars. Um, you know, that's what you're doing. We'll send you there. Whatever the ticket costs. It would have to be reasonable. Say fucking $200. I don't know. We're sending people there, and but you're there forever, and you're gonna have to rebuild this planet brick by brick, or maybe even the planet's already built. Maybe everything's already built. Let's say that. Let's say the planet is already built, and they need police officers, they need detectives, and they need mail carriers. So me and Ro could go there, and just slide right into our lives the way that they were on a new planet with new people, and it's a 32-hour day, so we get an extra 8 hours a day. So if Ro, basically this was my feeling on it the other day. If Ro said, I want to do it, I want to go, I would say, okay, fine. I would go. I would say, yeah, I love my father, my sister. I'd miss my kids, and I'd miss all the people here that I'm friends with, everyone that I've made great friends here on Earth. I have some great friends kicking around. But if Ro was like, I want to go, I think I'd do it. I think I would. I think that I'd be like, okay, if I wouldn't let her go by herself. And, so if she really wanted to go, then I would, which she's mentioned, not going to another planet, but in the past, she's like kind of touched on moving to Florida. Which at the very beginning of our relationship, I was like, no, I would never. I wouldn't. I like it here. And I do like it here. I like it here in New Hampshire. Obviously, everyone knows how much I love the snow for the snowmobiling. I like having seasons. I particularly like winter and summer. I used to like spring a lot, but not so much anymore. It's too cold. Like the spring, like the fucking winter is not cold enough because we don't get enough snow anymore. And the spring is too cold. Like the spring is like, okay, let's we'll go up to 45 degrees, and that's where we're gonna stop. Although this week it's gonna be like fucking the 80s here or something stupid. But anyways, if Ro, next month was like, I want to move to Florida, and my best friend is moving to Florida, and I'm gonna go with her. I think that I'd go. I'd probably go. I wouldn't. I love it here. I just I feel like it wouldn't be as much of a fun place to be without her. So I would rather go someplace with her. And I told her, when I told her that, I was like, you'd have to be very understanding though. I would be in the winter months from December to April. I would have to be coming back to New Hampshire pretty often. Like, at a minimum, I would probably be coming back here once a month. So, yeah, that was just a thought that I had. And then, but talk more about traveling. We watched these. We watch. Well, I never. All right, let me start that over. She got me into these cooking shows, right? So I watched, what is it, Hell's Kitchen, back in 2005 when Hell's Kitchen first started. I watched it. I watched season 1. I loved it. I loved it because Gordon Ramsay reminded me so much of basic training of drill sergeants, right? Where like he can be totally friendly with you, sit down, have dinner with you, be talking, or when he's teaching them how to do something, he's very into it and he's teaching you, but then he can snap on a dime and just start swearing and yelling at you. And but I loved it. So I watched season 1, but then I fell off of it and never watched it again. And I still haven't watched Hell's Kitchen again. But we, when we start dating, she's like, this show MasterChef is on, and I want to watch it. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I don't typically like reality TV. In fact, I hate reality TV. and this is a form of reality TV. However, they do have some, like, it's insane to me sometimes to see what you can do with certain foods. Like for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Walmart and pick up a steak and a bag of green beans, and I'm going to throw them all on the grill, and that's what I'm going to eat. To see what people can do with certain things. Like last night we were watching, and they're doing like a Mayan grill. So they're doing like a Mayan recipe inside of we're watching Top Chef. And we're watching, and they're doing like a Mayan recipe inside of an old Mayan ruin, and they have this grill, and they're going through this huge array of foods, of vegetables, of fruits, of meats, and just all this stuff. And these chefs didn't have garlic, and they didn't have something else. And they were completely thrown off by not having these two things that I would look at and be like, I don't get it. Like, why, how's that so important? But at the end, it was really, really important. So, but it's just insanity to watch. But anyways, we were watching one of the more because they do these challenges on Top Chef all the time. And one of the more recent challenges, it was like, the winner of the challenge gets a 2-night stay at the secret resorts in Mexico, or I guess maybe it was any secret resort, and that's the name of the place, is Secret Resorts. So I looked up going to secret resorts, and like you can go on there and book a trip, and it's do you want to, what is it? It's like, do you want to include airfare? So I was like, yeah, sure, include airfare. So it's like it's a flight from Boston to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to St. Martin. And the total cost for two people was a little over $4,000, which is insanely expensive. But either way, I think we're going to look into that. I don't know when that'll be, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, but definitely going to look into doing that. Just traveling together. I mean, we talk about traveling all the fucking time. And now that COVID is pretty much over, it was a hoax all along. COVID is a joke. It was a fucking ridiculous thing all along. I hated it the whole time through. Now that it's pretty much over, places are relaxing. Vaccinations or whatever, whether they're going up or down or who cares. People are starting to relax about the whole thing, which is great. Although I did go into a Dunkin' Donuts the other day, and the woman was like, "Mask, you gotta have a mask on." Okay, fuck you. And then they were trying to joke with me, and I was like, I'm not amused by anything you're saying because of what just happened. So. Anyone watching Jupiter's Legend? Actually, you know what? Before I talk about Jupiter's Legend, I do have to talk about some advertising. Firstly, what do I want to do first? Let's start with 4HM. Okay, we'll start with 4HM clothing. Let me go to that 4HM website. You can go to 4HMclothing.com, excuse me. You can go to 4HMclothing.com, shop their website. Any order over $50, enter offer code ADULTING. You'll get 10% off your order. 10% off your entire order. Anything over $50. So go there, buy a couple shirts, buy a fucking hat, a mask, buy some shoes, buy whatever you want. Use offer code ADULTING. Make sure you let my boy know that you were sent there by me. All right. Next, Adam and Eve. So Ro and I were with a couple the other night, and they tell us that they got this thing on the Adam Eve website. Let me go to the Adam Eve website right now and bring this thing up. They bought this thing. I think that I may have even talked about it before on the show. It's called Clone Willy. It is $45 on the website. Enter offer code ADULTING at checkout. You get 50% off any one item. plus free shipping, plus a bunch of other free shit that they'll send you. So I mean, it really, by the time you get done with the fucking love kit that they send you, I mean, you've made out pretty well. You've gotten whatever you bought, you've gotten what you paid for, or what you got rather for free. Like, once you add that 50% code, the kit that they send you is essentially free. So free shipping too. So, but they got this Clone a Willy thing, which is basically like a way to make your own dildo out of your partner's dick. All right. Now, I don't know when or if they'll ever make like Clone a Vagina. Maybe that's already a thing. I don't know. But the description on this one is this make your own dildo kit has everything you need to make a soft dildo of your hard penis. With optional vibrations to please her like never before, just add water to the molding powder, insert your erection into the warm moisture, then slide off the mold and pour in the 100% platinum cure silicone. You'll have a highly detailed replica of your own penis in just a few hours for double the frisky fun. Hint, insert the vibe to make your clone buzz. Great instructions, 24-hour hotline. Jesus Christ, they have a 24-hour hotline for this thing. I imagine that is probably just some wife sitting at home at like 3 a.m. getting a phone call who's like, another what? And just some guy like, I think my dick is stuck in the thing. And she's like, no, it's not. Okay, it's fine. All right, just let the thing cure. Okay? Yeah. Thank you for calling Clone a Willy. Good night. Great instructions, 24-hour hotline. Make it so easy to make your own dildo. Latex-free, hypoallergenic, and safe to use on any penis. Testimonial. My boyfriend and I had so much fun with this kit. It's so easy. We've enjoyed a double penetration with him in my back door and his replica in my vagina. From Elizabeth P. She sounds like a blast. Let's see here. Details. Requires 1 AA battery. Brand is Empire Labs. It's got an array of colors. Let's see here. Battery operated, vibrating, hypoallergenic, gender male female, silicone, uses batteries. Happy 5 stars, happy military wife. I highly suggest this product for every couple to try. 5 stars, thinking ahead. Get it? Ha 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 ha. We recently discovered my man has prostate cancer, so just in case he dies. What do you mean, just in case? What the fuck does that mean? So just in case? That is the weirdest. So just in case, I ordered this kit to immortalize his penis before surgery. That is some weird ass shit. All right, there's no name on this. All right, but that is all of that is all the wrong things are happening there. We recently, so just in case, I assume that means just in case he dies. That's how you immortalize your husband. My man. This is not a loving couple who's been together for decades. This is like, I don't know what's going on here. All the questions are happening. 5 stars, very fun. Timing is key. Watch for spills. We thoroughly enjoyed using this, and the replica is most impressive. What does watch for spills mean, though? You did not elaborate on the watch for spills. What does that mean? I have so many questions. It does have an average rating of 3.2 stars with 276 5-star ratings and 241 1-star ratings. And 215 4-star ratings. And then the other ones are 96 and 92, respectively. So, interesting thing. But in our conversation about this person, like, what about after the breakup? Like, after, if there's a breakup, like, now you just have a dildo, and that could end up going either way. Either I would presume that the female, let's presume a straight sex male female, and that's how we identify whatever pronoun they use, relationship, and presume that the relationship, they buy it, and then the relationship ends a few months later or something like that. Presume that the woman keeps it. What is she gonna do with that? Like, now she's just got a fucking dildo of her ex's cock. That might make sense for like a little bit, especially if he's the one that decided to do the breaking up, and now she's like missing him at night or something stupid like that. But eventually she's gonna get over that, and then she's gonna get a new boyfriend, and then like the new boyfriend's gonna be like, "Do you have any toys?" And she's gonna be like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I get my ex's dick." I was making myself laugh the other day thinking about Beauty and the Beast, which I know is a very weird segue, but you're gonna see that I turn this around. I was thinking about Beauty and the Beast and how like all of those items in the house, like there's the big armoire chest that's really just like the big fat lady who, because everyone in the house was transformed into inanimate objects until the Beast finds love. Like, what if Belle comes to the house, right? And then she, she's angry that she's there at first, right? She's very angry to be there. But then as she slowly starts to become integrated into the house and she's like happy to be there, what if she starts to slowly turn into an inanimate object? And of course, that inanimate object is going to be a fleshlight, right? What if Belle like suddenly turned into a fleshlight, and then Beast is just walking around the house holding this like talking Belle who is actually a fleshlight, and he's like jerking himself off, just going fucking crazy on this fleshlight until he falls in love with and makes the fleshlight. He would have to make the fleshlight fall in love with him, and that would be how everyone gets transformed back. But it would be awfully hard to get a fleshlight to fall in love with you when you're committing bestiality on the fleshlight just all over and over and over again, right? There's so much pent up anger in that beast. Yeah, that felt good for me to get that all out. That felt like pent up dark humor that I've just been waiting to spew out on my fans. Now, speaking of which, my fans, that is, I have a new sponsor coming on in June, and that sponsor has a requirement that in the first 30 days, I need at least 10 people to go to their website and use my code. All right. Spoiler alert, the code is going to be adulting. All right. I need at least 10 of you, at a minimum 10 of you, to go in that first 30 days and use that code. And you can expect me to spam the fuck out of Facebook and Instagram for those 30 days, trying to get as many people as possible to go to the website and use the code adulting. All right. A, I can promise you it is a company you've heard of before. B, I can promise you it's a company that you use, all right? You already use the product. It's not necessarily the company that you already use, but you do use that product, all right? Male and female, you all but definitely use the product, okay? So I need at least 10 of you to go to the website and use my code, because after 30 days, if at least 10 people use the code, then it will be a paid sponsorship for 6 months. Where they actually, because right now, like Adam Eve, 4HM, REPP, those sponsors of the show, I just get like a kickback on whatever gets spent on the website. You go and use my code, and they send me a commission. This website, I'll get a commission for those first 30 days, but if enough people use my code in those 30 days, then I will get a paid sponsorship with a 6-month contract. And then they'll see like how much they want to, keep doing business with me afterwards. But very important. That'll be Oh, today's only the 17th of May. For some reason, it feels so much later in May. But yeah, that'll be just over 2 weeks from now. In fact, that will probably be 2 weeks from now. Like Memorial Day, I'll probably do an episode where I introduce that sponsor, and it'll be very important that you guys go and use that code for that website when I announce it. So I really, really would appreciate that. Just fucking 10 of you, okay? So yeah, that's it. Jupiter's Legend I wanted to talk about real quick because I don't know dick about it. I don't know enough about it. I shouldn't say I don't know dick about it. I've watched 2 episodes so far. Me and Ro have watched 2 episodes so far. Basically, I know it came out like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I was hanging out here one day on a Sunday, and Ro sends me a text, and she's like, "How the fuck did we miss this?" And she sends me the trailer for the show. So I watched the trailer. And it's almost like Netflix's answer to the show The Boys on Amazon. So if you like the show The Boys on Amazon, it's very much similar to that. You know, it's a superhero show. I don't know if there's an associated comic, because I know there's an associated comic with The Boys. I know that it started as a comic, but I don't know if there's an associated comic with Jupiter's Legend. But it's very similar, where it's like superheroes in the world, people know about them, blah 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 blah, right? It's not as funny so far. We've watched 2 whole episodes, and we're 20 minutes into episode 3. But it's not nearly as funny, like dark humor, as The Boys is. But it's a good. The 2.5 episodes that we've watched have been really good so far. So there's that. Yeah, and I don't really know what else, because like I said, we've only watched 2 episodes. The last thing that I want to talk about is softball. Softball is fun. I think it's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last thing for this fucking week. Softball. I had a fucking awesome weekend with Ro. Let me start there, all right? And it's my fucking show. I'll talk about Ro all I fucking want to, okay? But we, actually, that's not, actually, you know what? Before I talk about softball, I want to talk about this, all right? Yesterday I'm at my place, right? And I say my place, and I don't care, okay? Fuck you. I don't care how old I am. I don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. For the longtime listeners of the show, you know the bullshit that I went through almost a year ago. You know all of the things that happened. You know all the stressors that I had and what led me to where I am today. And I don't care. It's my place, but it's my father's basement, because I built an in-law apartment basically in his basement, and I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks about that. I like it. I think it looks great. I've made it my own. I've got all my shit here. I'm separated from everyone because I have doors with locks on them and walls and all that shit. Really, I just have to soundproof the ceiling, and it really will be completely shut off from everyone else. But here's the thing, right? We have a fucking 4-wheeler here, right? We have this ATV with these big fucking high lifter tires on it. It's like the lift kit and everything. The thing is a mud machine, right? But I have my snowmobile trail. I built a snowmobile trail last year to get from my place on the snowmobile out to the actual snowmobile trails, right? So it's like a mile long, and I had to, do some work to make it, right? Well, the other day I get here and my father's tractor is outside and it's covered in mud. And he says, yeah, I went out through your snowmobile trail the other day. Man, it's really muddy. And I was like, oh no. So I take the ATV out yesterday. I go driving through all this mud that he's destroyed my snowmobile trail. I can't wait to see him again and be like, hey, could we keep the fucking 10,000 pound tractor out of my trail so that we're not destroying my trail for the rest of the year? Because at some point now, over the next month or two, I'm going to have to go out there with the tractor and try to grade all of that down to flat, because it's just these 2 giant tractor ruts through my trail right now. So not good for snowmobiling. But anyways, I take the ATV out there, I hit the mud, and then I get back here, and then it's time for me to go watch Ro play softball. So I park the ATV and I leave. I'm at her softball game for like an hour, and I get a text from my father saying, "Is there any reason you didn't wash off the ATV?" Okay, Dad. I can't wait to see him, so I can be like, I do like your standard. I do like your standard of cleanliness. Dog shit all over the floor in the house upstairs, their living area, not my living area. Dog shit all over the floor. That's fine. Dog pissing all over the floor, also fine. Dishes stacked to the ceiling in the sink for days on end, or just left on the counter growing mold. That's fine. But dirt on the ATV, that is where we draw the line around here. That's where we draw the line on that. Yeah, I just thought that was fucking hysterical. I replied back and I was like, yeah, I ran out of time. I'll wash it off tomorrow. But you know, I love the line. I love where we draw the line on cleanliness around here. It definitely makes me not upset that I put up these fucking walls. Someone else had to, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I don't care. Someone else had to put down their dog today, and this particular person, though they will probably never hear me say this because I doubt they listen to the show. I do feel bad for the dog. Yeah, because it was a great dog. I got to know it pretty well. Really great dog. Do feel bad that the dog had to get put down. That part sucks. As far as its owner, that's karma. That's how karma works, bitch. Yeah. So there's that. And softball. All right, moving into softball. Firstly, I had an awesome weekend with Ro. A lot of softball going on for her. But like Friday night, we were waiting for Friday night all week long. Like from Sunday night, I think it was like last Saturday night. It's like midnight and we are fucking exhausted. And I don't know why, but I don't remember why, but she had gotten out she has like 2 Simon Says, like the original Simon Says things. And, which if you don't remember, or if you don't know, because you're that low down on my demo, Simon Says was this thing. It's got these 4 lights. It's red, green, yellow, and blue. And it'll beep twice. Like say it beeps yellow twice, right? Like beeps yellow twice, and then you have to tap yellow twice. And then it's like yellow, yellow, green, and then you go yellow, yellow, green, and then it's like yellow, yellow, green, red. Okay, now you go yellow, yellow, green, red. So it always starts off the same, and you basically just have to memorize what the last thing that happened was that's different from the time before that, right? So, but she breaks it out, she plays it a little bit, and then you know, hands it over to me, and I do it once too. So, but it's late, so we're tired, we go to bed. So then Sunday I was like, why don't we do like a game night? Let's, you know, we've been talking for a year about doing a board game night, so fuck it, let's plan it and let's do it. So Friday night we did pizza night. We fucking, you know, she had a long ass fucking week. She had a really long week of working late and coaching girls softball and you know, playing her own softball games and then driving here a few times. Yeah, she just had a hell of a week. So, you know, Friday night comes and we get beers and we get pizza and you know, we watched Top Chef, and then she showered, and then we played this game called Logo, which was a lot of fun. And then Saturday, she took the day off, didn't do a fucking thing, which I loved for her. And by didn't do a fucking thing, I mean she didn't work and she didn't play softball. You know, she ran errands and whatever that she needs to do. So, but then Sunday was like all softball for her. Like she got here Saturday night. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, she got here Saturday night, and we went out to a bar on the motorcycle because it was beautiful Saturday. So she got here, and we went to a bar on the motorcycle and had an awesome time there. And we go to this bar in Kingston, New Hampshire called Saddle Up Saloon, and the people watching there is just, mwah, so much fun. It's great, great people watching at Saddle Up Saloon. So we went to that, and then But then Sunday was just all softball for her. She got up at like 7:45 Sunday morning, and she had a softball game a couple towns over. So I drove over to that to go watch her play softball there, and they destroyed this other team. It was like fifth inning. It was like 25-5, and there's a rule where if you're beating the other team by so many points after 5 innings, then it's game over. So that game was over, and then I hung out with her and her friends, her other softball players, Kimmy and whatever. Kimmy, this guy Nate, a couple other people were there. Hung out for like, I don't know, 45 minutes or so, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my place and hang out for a little while. I came back here, worked on the motorcycle, and then she had a game later in the afternoon in Newmarket, New Hampshire. So I went to that game. So I drove my motorcycle over to Newmarket, met her at that field, and watched them play another game. Met more people, sat on there's a bench there, and so I sat on the bench with this guy who was like a husband of one of the women playing on her team, because this one's an all women's team. I've only ever seen her play on co-ed teams, so this one's an all women's team. So watched that game and like sat there for, games usually take about an hour. I sat there with this other guy. His name was Mike. We ended up sitting there for the whole hour, just shooting the shit about, because he was former military. He's older than me by a lot. Like, he was in the military in like the early, like mid 80s. He was in the military. So he's probably about 20 years older than me, but we just sat on the bench shooting the shit about the military and fucking COVID and just all sorts of shit. It was just fun. And yeah, it was a great time. And then we go out to this bar in Newmarket after the game to get a drink, and the whole team goes. So we go to this bar and we're hanging out, and there's this local celebrity. That's what I'm going to call him. He's the news guy for this radio show here in New Hampshire called The Morning Buzz. It's like 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. I used to watch it all, or listen rather. I used to listen to it all the time. I wouldn't recognize any. Well, I guess I'd recognize one of them because I've seen him enough, but the rest of them I wouldn't fucking recognize. I wouldn't fucking recognize any of them. So but the news guy, his name is Kelly Brown, and he happened to be at the bar, and I guess he's there all the time and whatever. So I didn't tell this to Kimmy last night. I don't know how often she listens to the show, but I didn't tell her this last night. But here's my problem with the Morning Buzz, right? Because she was like, I listen every morning. I love the show. She's crazy about the show, whatever. And I used to listen, like from 2013 to probably 2015 or 16. I was the same way. I listened every single morning from the time that I got in my car to go to work to the time the show ended. I listened every morning. I had two big problems. The reasons that I stopped listening to the show, I had two big problems. One, they interviewed a guy over the phone who had been on Breaking Bad, and it's like season 5 of Breaking Bad. Like, Breaking Bad has like 4 episodes left, I think, is when they did this interview, and they interview this guy, and Greg is like, oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me this. Don't tell me, Greg is like the lead of the show. He's like the main host of the show. He's like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me this. He's saying like, oh, don't tell me that. Because he just started watching the show, and he's like halfway through season 1, and it basically comes across as like, oh, we got this guy to come on the show, and you guys are going to interview him. And he had no interest in ever watching this show before now, and the only reason he even watched it a little bit was because they were going to interview this guy, and it just bothered me to be like, okay, like you're interviewing someone that you literally have zero interest in, and you're only interviewing him because for whatever your boss has told you to. I don't know. Maybe that's not his fault. I don't know. I liked Breaking Bad enough to watch it, I guess. But it's certainly not a show that I was ever like, that is a show that I need to watch. That is a show that that was basically like a show where I was like, okay, I have nothing else to watch. Like, I was doing private investigations at the time, and I had my phone just set up on the dashboard of my car while I was supposed to be watching a house, and just every once in a while I'd look up and be like, yeah, he's still not outside. Yeah, the guy that I'm looking for, he's still not there. So anyways, the other problem that I found with this morning show was that the format was just always the same. It was like talk about some bullshit, do a segment, news, commercial. News, talk about some shit, segment, news, commercial. And it was just the same thing for 4.5 fucking hours every morning. You can go listen to it right now. I guarantee it's the exact same format every fucking morning. And once in a great while, and I mean maybe 2, 3, 4 times a year, they might really, really get into something heated where it's like there's a great back and forth between, there's like 4 or 5 hosts on the show. Once in a great while, they might get into something like that's really good to listen to. But like their interviews always sucked. I never liked any of their interviews. I'm sorry, Kim. I didn't like any of them. But either way, all right, that's all beside the point. The fact is, here's the thing. So this guy, Kelly Brown, he's at the bar last night, and Ro obviously recognizes him. No, I think she knows him in some way because she's a celebrity also. She's also a local celebrity to Portsmouth and surrounding areas. She fucking knows everyone, and if she doesn't know them, she's going to know them. By the end of the night, she'll know them. And Kimmy is like starstruck. You know, she's like, oh my God, it's Kelly Brown. Oh my God, I got a picture of him once. Or a picture with him once, rather. Not a picture of him. That would be fucking weird. I got a picture of him. He doesn't know I have it. That would be weird. But, But anyways, Ro is like, oh, I got to go to the bar and get some catch-up. So she goes to the bar, and then she calls over Kimmy, and Kimmy comes over and gets a picture with Kelly Brown. So all excited about that, whatever. So later last night, we're talking about it at home because she asked me, like, who would you get starstruck over? And her first guess was Skin Diamond. Adult entertainer Skin Diamond, my favorite of the adult entertainers, which is wrong. And I can say that with confidence because I'm fairly positive that I actually saw Skin Diamond once in person, in, of all places, Epping, New Hampshire, at a fucking Walgreens at the photo counter. There was a girl there, looked exactly like her, same haircut. This was way back in like 2014 or 15. Same haircut, same tattoos. The tattoos were the same. Looked just like her. And I even commented on a post on Instagram saying, have you ever been to Epping, New Hampshire? And she liked the comment, but she never replied to it. So I'm fairly positive I saw her, but I didn't approach or anything. I didn't, I never feel the need to get starstruck about anyone. So Ro was like, who would you get starstruck about? I think the only person I might get really like, oh my God, starstruck to see if I saw them out, like, oh my God, I have to go and talk to that person. I have to go introduce myself, even though they probably won't remember me. I have to ask them if it's okay to take a picture. Like, I want to meet this person in the worst way. The only person I can think of that I would be like that for is probably Kevin Hart. That seems like the person that I would be so excited to meet, just because he seems so fucking awesome and down to earth, and he has I've listened to interviews with him and all of his comedy specials and all I would say, I think almost all of his movies, if not all of his movies. I think I missed Night School because that one didn't look good. But I've seen most of his movies. I mean, I would definitely, for him, I would be freak out level. But even Dwayne Johnson, who everyone knows I love Dwayne Johnson. I would love to look like Dwayne Johnson. Even him, I'd be like, oh, it's Dwayne Johnson. Cool. All the other super celebrities, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Brady, whoever the hell else there is. I mean, I'd be like, yeah, there's that guy. Who cares? But Kevin Hart, I would probably be pushing through people to get to. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for me tonight, guys. Unlike recently, instead of like a super cold stop, I'll give you guys a heads up this time. Fuck it. Um, excuse me. You can check me out, Adulting with Donnie podcast on Facebook, Adulting Donnie on Instagram. You can email the show if you so please. It's adultingdonniepod@gmail.com if you have any thoughts on anything that I've said tonight. And the suicide prevention line is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. And that's going to do it for me. I will talk to you guys next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.